I would like to talk about the language and the linguistic minority rights. I mean, various provisions are there in the Constitution related to language and the linguistic minority rights. So, the heading is language and the linguistic minority rights. See, language is the most expressed component of a culture, or the most expressed what you call ingredient of culture. Culture is best expressed through language. Culture is best expressed through language. The best expression of culture is through language. That is very, very significant. And that is why sometimes when we say, if a person opens his mouth, we will understand what kind of person he is. So, why? Because the moment we start speaking, the way you speak, the accent with which you speak, you will make out, or he is a South Indian, he is a North Indian, all these things we make out. So, culture, language is the best expression of culture, and language is very, very important. You cannot, our mother tongue is very important. If you want to protect your culture, we have to protect our mother tongue. We have to speak in our mother tongue. We should know your mother tongue properly. That is why, even in the new education policy, which is the draft education policy talks about, at least in the primary level, all education should be in the mother tongue. It's not that simple thing, because then only your culture, you will learn your culture properly, and very important, and you will be proud of your culture. You should have that sense of belongingness only if you know your culture and if you are proud of your culture. So, there are various provisions in the Indian Constitution to protect our language and culture, and in general about language and culture also I will be talking about this, because I may not be speaking about language separately. So, that is why I am using this this topic as a language and the linguistic minority rights. So, Article 29, very clear what are the provisions. Article 29 is very clear. It says there is a fundamental right, any section of the society, any section of the minority having a distinct language, script or culture, having a distinct language, script or culture can protect the same. So, 29 is asking all groups of citizens, especially minorities, who are having a distinct language, script or culture, they should be protected. And also it is said that in an educational institution, whether it is run by the state or the institution getting aid from the state, cannot deny a person entry or other admission only on the grounds of language, only on the grounds of language or religion, or all this caste, everything is said, but language is very clearly mentioned. A person cannot be denied admission because of the language. So, that is Article 29. Then coming to Article 30 again, very, very clearly mentioned, any section of the minorities, whether belonging to linguistic or religious minority, linguistic or religious, any section of minority, whether linguistic or religious or based on religion or language, can have the right to establish and administer education institution of their choice. Big thing again, because we have to protect our language. Language is the best manifestation of culture. So, Article 30 very clear, you protect your language. Then not only this, we have a couple more articles. One is it is outside the fundamental rights, Article 350A, and it has been inserted by the 7th Amendment, and it says that the state shall extend adequate facilities for instruction in the mother tongue at the primary level. The state shall extend adequate facilities for instruction in the mother tongue in primary school, at primary level, for instructions in mother tongue at the primary level. So, in the primary level, in the primary school, the state shall provide adequate facilities for instruction in mother tongue, so that especially the children belonging to the linguistic minority groups, and they should have that facility. Article 350A, it is saying that, and it also says that the President of India can issue necessary directions to any state to protect the rights of the linguistic minorities. It also says the President of India can issue necessary directions to the states. The President of India can issue necessary directions to the states to protect the linguistic minority groups, to protect the linguistic minority groups. So, Article 350, it talks of 350A, it talks about two things: adequate facilities for children to study in their mother tongue in the primary level. And the President of India, if it comes to his notice that linguistic minorities are not taken care properly, necessary directions can be issued by the President of India. President means the central government will issue directions to any state. And this term linguistic minority group, according to Supreme Court, it has been interpreted to mean a group of people who are in numerical minority in a state. Linguistic minority means a group of people who are in numerical minority in a state as a whole, as distinguished from any other. Suppose, in Tamil Nadu, say Malayalam speaking people will be linguistic minority as a whole of the state. The people who speak in Malayalam or in Kannada or in Telugu will be comparatively less. They will be treated as a linguistic minority group in that state. So, that is about Article 350A. 350A talks about the right, or rather the children. So, this is it's a directive: the state shall extend adequate facilities for instruction in mother tongue at the primary level for the children. And 350B, another provision, Article 350B. It says, it provides for the appointment by the President of a special officer for linguistic minorities. The President can appoint a special officer for linguistic minorities, can appoint a special officer for linguistic minorities to investigate matters concerning the safeguards for linguistic minority, to investigate matters concerning the matters concerning the safeguards for linguistic minorities, concerning safeguards for linguistic minorities, and to report to the President of such intervals, at such intervals as the President may direct. All such reports may be laid before the House of the Parliament and sent to state governments concerned also. So, Article 350B talks about President can appoint a special officer for linguistic minorities to investigate matters concerning the safeguards for the linguistic minorities in a state. So, Article 29, Article 30, Article 350A and 350B specifically talks about the linguistic minorities or the minorities in India, and especially linguistic minorities. So, please remember, linguistic minorities are mentioned in 29, 30, 350A and 350B. Be clear. Now, a couple of points about language, because right from Article 343 to 350, it talks about language only. 343 to 350, and Article 343 talks about the official language of the Union. 343, Article 343 talks about the official language of the Union. See, there is no national language in India. Please don't forget, we don't have a national language, but we have an official language. Article 343 says the official language of the Union of India shall be Hindi in Devanagari script. Shall be Hindi in Devanagari script. So, official language, Article 343 says the official language shall be Hindi in Devanagari script. But notwithstanding anything in this clause, for a period of 15 years, originally it was written for a period of 15 years, from the commencement of this constitution, English shall continue to be used for all the official purpose. So, English is an associate official language. English shall continue to be an associate official language for the purpose of the Union for which it is being used immediately before its commencement. So, meaning along with Hindi for the next 15 years, English shall continue to be used for all the official purposes of the Union. So, Article 343 is very clear, but an exception is given. English can continue to be an associate official language. So, but 343 is very clear. Then 344, 45, everything is there, but 348 is also important for us. Please note Article 348, it says language to be used in the Supreme Court and in the High Court or acts or bills, etc. Language to be used in Supreme Court, High Courts, in bills, in acts, in ordinances, etc. The language to be used for bills, notwithstanding anything, it says all proceedings of the Supreme Court and the High Court, all the authoritative text of a bill or an act passed in the Parliament or the legislature of a state, okay, all orders, rules, regulations, bylaws, everything has to be in English language. Please don't forget. So, it is very clear, Article 348 says the language to be used in the Supreme Court, in the High Courts, for all bills, acts, ordinances, etc., it should be in English language. Any order, any any rule, regulation, bylaw, under the Constitution or under any law made by the Parliament or the legislature of state shall be in English. So, 348 very clearly says what should be the language of the Supreme Court, High Courts, etc. That is 340. So, 343 says Hindi is the official language, English is the associate English language. For 15 years it was said, but it is extended subsequently. Now, Article 351, another very important article as far as language is concerned. Article 351 is very important for us. So, I have already talked about 43, 348, now 351. 351 says a directive for development of the Hindi language. 351 is a directive for the development of Hindi language. Hindi. It says it shall be the duty of the Union. It shall be the duty of the Union to promote the spread of Hindi language. So, promotion of Hindi language. Promote the spread of Hindi language. Promote the spread of Hindi language. It is the duty of the Union to promote the spread of the Hindi language, to develop it so that it may serve as a medium of expression of all the elements of the composite culture of India. The way we have a mother tongue and then we are using English as a medium of communication, Hindi can be the medium of expression for all the elements of the composite culture of India, and to secure its enrichment by assimilating without interfering with its genius, the forms, style and expressions used in Hindustani and in other languages of India. So, it is very clearly saying you spread Hindi, it is a duty of the Union to spread Hindi, but without interfering with the genius, forms and style and expression of other languages specified in the 8th schedule. Okay. So, you can the promotion of the Article 351 says that it's a directive to the Union to develop and promote the spread of Hindi language. So 351 talks about promote and spread the Hindi language. Okay. So Article 29, 30, 350A, 350B deals with the linguistic minorities. 343 deals with official language, no national language in India. English is the associate official language. Initially it was for 15 years, but it has continued. 348, English is the official language of all the Supreme Court and the High Courts and the bills and ordinances and laws and bylaws. 351, it is a duty, it is a directive to the, to the Union. It is the duty of the Union to promote Hindi language across India, so that this can be the medium of communication across, cutting across the cultures. But at the same time, we should ensure that it is not in any way, it is not interfering with the genius, the form, style and expression. Very good. So that is how, these are the prominent articles about language in our Indian Constitution. Some of them are specifically for the minorities, other for official language, or with the communication language in courts, and finally promotion of Hindi, Article 351.